Who doesn't love a good hot take? Ask the community to drop some hot takes going into the season. I got some interesting ones. Let's see what they got to say. I started on Discord. Discord's gonna get a priority. You know what I mean? If you want your hot takes to make the video, join the Discord. I did ask other social media platforms as well, but we gotta show love to the Discord first. Shout out to the mod Malachi Brandon for MVP. Spurs getting the #1 pick. Raptors to 3 seed and conference finals appearance. Okay, so first off, Spurs getting #1 pick. I doubt it. There's just other teams that have more picks, unfortunately. I know why he wants them to get the #1 pick, because everybody wants Victor Wembanyama. It really just depends. We'll see how that goes. It's gonna be tough for sure. Raptors are 3 seed in the East. I think that's spicy, but I'm gonna have to say no. There's other teams like the Miami Heat are still up there. The Celtics, although we just talked about how I'm concerned about them, I think they're still a top 3 type team. Call me crazy, but I think the Cavs are still better than the Raptors. I can see the Raptors being like 5-6. At worst to play in, but still making it, but top 3 is crazy. 0-0, Ja ain't gonna have the same success as last year or as people say he will. Ja's funny for me. I think I see a lot of back and forth when it comes to Ja Morant in terms of how good is he gonna be. Some people telling me he's gonna be an MVP caliber conversation. Some people are telling me he's not. I honestly think Ja's numbers will look very similar than they did last year, but I don't think he's gonna get catapulted to maybe some of the MVP conversations because you'll have other players who will be healthy this year and play. Kawhi, Paul George, potentially Anthony Davis. Because those other guys can put up very similar numbers in terms of scoring that Ja put up, but also play way better defense, I think they're going to be catapulted into some of the MVP conversations over Ja Morant, but I don't think Ja Morant's going to regress in terms of his play style and the type of numbers he puts up. Guru says Poku MVP candidate. Shout out to Poku. He's one of my guys. OKC big man, if you don't know who he is. He's kind of a niche player, low key. Alexei Pokusevski, for me, I think the talent is there. Like, I like his skill level. Like, he's not crazy, don't get me wrong, but his biggest thing was his weight. He's a 6'11", like 7-foot guy who came into the league at 195 pounds. He's now listed at 210. He's put on some weight. I don't think he's going to be MIP, to be honest with you, but I definitely think he's going to have a better season and probably going to get some playing time considering Chet Holmgren's going to be out this year. Unlimited hot take, the Pelicans are a playoff lock. That's not hot. I've been saying that all season. And then hot take, Giannis needs 1 ring and he'll pass KD all time. I actually hit the fire emoji in this. I think this is really a hot take, but I don't think it's crazy. If Giannis gets another ring, I don't know if it's going to be this season. I don't know if it's going to be next season, stuff like that. But if Giannis gets another ring and Kevin Durant doesn't get any more rings, that would put Giannis at potentially 2 rings, 2 finals MVPs. They both have a regular season MVP. Actually, Giannis has 2 regular season MVPs and Giannis has Defensive Player of the Year. That really would, to me, pass him up as Kevin Durant all time. And call me crazy, but I already think there's a conversation there to be had with who you might have better all time. Because to me, Kevin Durant's not in my top 10 all time list. I know he's in some people's, but he's not in mine yet. Giannis wins another ring and finals MVP. Move over, Kevin Durant. Shout out to my guy Weary. He's saying Kings finally making playoffs. Hey, all right, Kings fans, we need to talk. There's a lot of Kings fans in the Discord. There's a lot of Kings fans that follow me on TikTok. Kings fans are honestly probably one of the most vocal fan base that I've experienced in my time making content. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but when I look at the Western Conference, and we can do this right now, when I look at the Western Conference and I look at the teams in the West, I don't know if the Kings make the playoffs. I think they'll make the play-in, and maybe they get lucky and win that game, but I think they're going to be a lower seeded play-in team because just off the top of my head, teams that I think are going to be better than the Kings, obviously the Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, the Pelicans, the Dallas Mavericks, the Denver Nuggets. We'll talk about the Lakers in a second. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm putting over them. The Phoenix Suns, I'm putting over them. I'm at 7 teams already. Now you're getting a conversation about the Portland Trail Blazers, the Lakers, and the Kings, right? I'm already at 7. I already said 7 teams are better. Oh, I'm sorry. Memphis Grizzlies. 8. There are already 8 teams that are better than them in my mind. So then you get in the mix. The Kings are in the mix with like the Trailblazers and the Lakers, because I think there's a lot of question marks for all 3 of those teams. Did the Kings do things to make themselves better? Of course. I love the Keegan Murray pickup. I love the Kevin Huerter pickup. I think the Fox and Ots, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox pick and roll is absolutely amazing. They're not going to be able to defend anybody. And with already, in my mind, 8 teams, you know, definitely better than them, and then they're in a mix with 3 other teams for those 9, 10, 11 play-in positions, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough for the Kings to make the playoffs. I'm saying it right now. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to make the play-in, but I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, and it sucks. Unlimited says, hot take, Halliburton will have a better year than LaMelo next year. That's a very interesting take for me. I don't really know where I stand on it, to be completely honest with you. LaMelo will have more defensive attention on him with Miles Bridges not being there, obviously. But Gordon Hayward, if he remains healthy throughout the whole season, he'll still be there to alleviate some of the defensive pressure. By strictly numbers, I expect LaMelo's numbers to be better than Tyrese's numbers. So for me, to be honest, I'd probably say I'm going to take LaMelo over Halliburton going into this season. De'Aaron Fox and Halliburton better than LaMelo right now? What's LaMelo getting hate for in the Discord? That's crazy to me. Iowa have a breakout season from Weary. I don't know what you consider a breakout season, but I really don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Weary is also saying Tyrese Maxey will be an all-star next season. I disagree. I absolutely love Tyrese Maxey. Y'all know I'm a Sixers fan. Y'all know that's one of my guys. But unless the Sixers are like the 1 seed, I don't see us getting 3 all-stars because Harden's probably going to be an all-star, Embiid's probably going to be an all-star. And like I said, unless the Sixers are literally the 1 seed and miles ahead of everybody else by the time all-star selection comes around, there's no way we're getting 3 all-stars. And considering guys like Kyrie's going to be playing all season, it's going to be tough to get an all-star spot at the guard position in the Eastern Conference. Here's an interesting one from Rudy Gay. Hot take: if any other team traded their second-year guard for an all-star, every MF on the planet would not hate. This is talking about how they were going back and forth in the Discord, talking about how the Kings made the mistake of trading Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis, and a lot of people think they should have traded De'Aaron Fox instead. And they're laying their hat on the fact that Domantas Sabonis is a 2-time All-Star. I don't want to sound like a hater on Domantas Sabonis, but I like to just add some context to the 2 All-Stars. The first one, I'll say it for a fact, legitimate All-Star. He balled out. The second one, he had a great season, but he was also an injury replacement for Kevin Durant, so he probably wouldn't have been an All-Star if they didn't have to use him. He just straight up wouldn't have been an All-Star if the injury replacement thing wasn't a thing. I love Domantas Sabonis' game. Kings fans are probably gonna hate me for this, and they say I'm hating on him like they always be telling me. I don't think Domantas Sabonis is gonna be an all-star this year. Like, I don't even know if he's going to get another all-star later in his career if players are healthy. And I know that's a big if because players are always injured and things like that. Injury is just a part of the game. But he plays the position that's really, really talented. And it's hard to get an all-star spot in that front court position. All right, so we got a couple here from Ninja. So he sent this on my Twitter as well, but Hawks are 5 to 8 seeded team. I don't think that's impossible. I think the Hawks are anywhere between 8 and maybe 6. I've spoken at length of how I'm uncertain about the whole DeJounte Murray, Trae Young backcourt. I think on paper it makes sense. I'm just really curious to see how it looks on the court because DeJounte Murray is not necessarily a great off-ball shooter. I don't want the ball out of Trae Young's hands for long extended periods of time. It's really going to come down to coaching and the coach figuring out how to make that work. The Lakers not making the playoffs, honestly, I think that's a little crazy. If they're healthy and they're making the playoffs, if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are healthy the full season and can play at least 65 games together, the Lakers should be a playoff team, even if they get in through the play-in, because if they're both healthy in that play-in game, those 2 guys have the talent alone to force their team to win the game. Pelicans going to be a surprise 5 to 8 seeded team. I'm saying Pelicans top 6. I've said that countless times. The Pelicans will not be in a play-in game. I'm staying 10 toes down on that. Mavs finished top 4. That's fine. You confused me with this Sixers part because you literally said the Sixers would be a number 1 usual seed or a little down year as a 4 seed or improve to a slightly 2 seed. If you want to know why I think the Sixers will be, I think the Sixers have the opportunity to be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference, and I'll just leave it at that. Unlimited saying the Pelicans are better than the Grizzlies. That's not crazy, especially considering the fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. is probably going to miss the first couple of months, so I can see the Grizzlies losing some games to start the season. And if the Pelicans and Zion can stay healthy all season, the Pelicans are actually going to be really, really good. But that's a big if, because the big if is, will Zion play all season? The Lakers will miss the playoffs. I don't think so. Once again, we've gone at length about that. Embiid is runner-up again. Honestly, to me, Embiid's the guy who I'm picking to win the NBA Finals. To win the MVP this season. So we'll see what happens. Clippers go to the finals. It's not impossible, but health is a big thing for that team. We'll see how John Wall meshes with them. Bucks go back-to-back. I don't really know what you mean by back-to-back because they didn't win last year, but I guess you're saying back to the NBA Finals. Not impossible, but the Bucks are getting older, so we'll see what happens there. Dame averages 28 points a game. That's actually probably low-key right on point of what he's going to average. They're going to need him to put up a lot of points to, be a playoff team in the very, very competitive Western Conference. Zion is all NBA. That's not crazy. I'm for that. Bulls missing the playoffs. That's tough. I don't think they will. I think the talent of DeMar and Zach is enough to get them into the playoffs. I think Andre Drummond coming off the bench is a really solid pickup. Goran Dragic, although he's not an up and down point guard, he's still a solid playmaker, and he's really still a solid starting caliber point guard in the NBA. Okay, so we got some hot takes from my guy Mad X on IG. I put it on my IG story. He responded. Let's go over his real quick. First, he says Devin Booker's never been better than Paul George. Hey, y'all know Paul George is my guy, and I'm not too ashamed to say it. And I don't think that's that hot of a take. I love Devin Booker and what he does in the clutch in terms of scoring and stuff like that. Scoring at all 3 levels, for being honest, especially that mid-range is deadly. Paul George is a great scorer in his own right. He was almost MVP his last year in OKC if he didn't mess up his shoulder. And his two-way ability surpasses Devin Booker's completely. So I don't think it's crazy to say. Russ will be a top 10 point guard next season. That's where you lose me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Do I think Russ is going to have a down year, like the type of year that he had last year? No, but I don't know if he's going to be back in top 10 status, mainly because the point guard position is so talented in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to get back to top 10. Do I think he's going to play better than he did last year? 100%. Sure. Matter of fact, I'm praying he does, but I don't know if he's going to be back to top 10 next season. The Cavs are serious contenders. I want to say I agree. I'll say they're at least serious contenders to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll have to see what happens from there. There's a lot of ifs there, because I think one of the biggest ones, can Donovan Mitchell step up his defensive role? I've talked about this at length before, how Donovan Mitchell was a great defender in college and he brought some energy and effort in college, but I think his time in Utah made it so that, well, I got to use all my energy on offense because no one else can get a bucket or, you know, distribute and play make like I can on this team. All the offense is on my shoulders. He doesn't necessarily have to carry the weight of all the offense now, playing alongside Darius Garland and, you know, the rest of what that team has to offer offensively. So now if he can step up his defensive impact, that would help this team a lot, because as of right now on paper, that backcourt can't defend nothing. But Donovan could surprise us. Number 4, if Brown and MJ swapped areas, Brown would be better all time. Yeah. We only focusing on stuff going into this season, so I ain't worried about that. Lonzo still has more potential than LaMelo. I don't really know about that one. I mean, maybe, because I love Lonzo's game. I'll definitely admit that I watch Lonzo way more than I watch LaMelo, because I like Lonzo's defense and playmaking. LaMelo, what he brings in terms of playmaking and scoring is beautiful. I think LaMelo could be a good defender because he has the size. He's a really big guard. He's just not there yet, but we'll see what happens. And last but not least, I did ask people on Twitter. Let's see what they had to say. Shout out to my guy, John. He said the Suns are dropping to the 8th seed. I'm not going to hold you to me. That's crazy. Do I have some concerns about the Suns? Sure. I just recorded a video talking about some of my concerns with the Suns. I don't know if this one's going to be first or that one's going to be first, but I'll drop the link in the description when it is out. But I will say I don't think they're going to be an 8th seed. Is Chris Paul regressing a little bit? Yes. Is Devin Booker still one of the best shooting guards in the league though? Also yes. DeAndre Ayton to me is still a top 10 center. Mikal Bridges almost won Defensive Player of the Year last season. I don't see a world where they drop to the 8th seed. That's just me personally. Do I think they're going to have the number 1 seed in the Western Conference or in the NBA again like they did last year? Probably not. But I can still see them easily being top 4 in the West. But that's just me. That's all the hot takes for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I find it fun. I love reacting to other people's hot takes. I love to see what the community as a whole thinks. This is fun. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.